Alright, so I often get asked how I go about fixing monitors that are no longer powering on. As you see in front of me here, I have a Dell monitor, and if you notice the power light here in this corner, it's just flashing on and off. This allows me to know that the power is getting to the machine, however it's stuck in some sort of boot loop. It is not allowing power to turn on the display. In this case, with this monitor, it is a relatively common problem, and I'm going to show you how I go about fixing it. First thing, of course, is I need to take off the power. Secondly, back side of this, there's a small screw here, which I take, which removes this stand from that. On the back, 4 small screws, which I take out. Now, on this side, in order to separate the top from the bottom, I go from the top of the screen, I insert something in between the plastic and the metal of the screen and pop it up. Once it begins popping, I just follow it around until it has completely come loose. Over here, you'll notice that it's connected to the power button, which through this thing right here, I just simply pop that off. Boom, that has been removed. Now, I flip this back over, and just like that, the back cover comes off. What we're now left with is the internals metal of the thing. I have a few more screws that I need to take off before I can get to the board, which is bad. I apologize for the shoddy camera work here. On the side over here, there are 4 plugins which connect the power board to the CFLs, which light up this monitor when it's working correctly. I need to get those off, which is sometimes a problem. And sometimes they come off easy. When it's a problem, I just use extra tools and take my time. Okay, those 4 are disconnected. At this time, right here, where the power plugs in, there are 2 more screws. I need to go ahead and disconnect those. And then the VGA for computer connect up, since I am working with a computer monitor right now. That's this. Usually you give them one small little turn just to loosen them up, and they come right out. Alright, now this main board is ready to detach from the LCD panel after I disconnect one more connector. which is the big 40-pin connector in the back. It generally comes off very easy, as it did just now. Get those through. And now we're left with this. This is our boards turned upside down. So I have 2 more screws that I need to undo in order to get to see them completely. Alright, can now see the complete back side of our panels. It takes 3 screws only to get the main power supply board out of here. The power supply board is the bigger board in here. Its basic job is just to supply power for when the monitor turns on and is ready to power the CFLs on the backlight. This main power board connected to the little memory chip over there by one thing. And here's what I'm looking for. This is our bad board. If you can tell in this, these are capacitors. I take a look at all of these. You can see these. They have a generally flat design that's stamped in. And down here in the bottom, you'll notice that this one and this one are protruding, meaning they're not flat. They're kind of at they're domed. That means they have gone bad. As you can see, what I believe is kind of a almost a conspiracy with Dell on every single one of these. The glue that Dell puts to tell if anyone has messed with these whatsoever is always on the capacitors that go bad. That's how they tell if anyone's been inside working with these. How they know that anyone would touch those? Well, that's a question for another day. But I'm going to go ahead and remove that glue, that way I can get those capacitors out of there. It generally comes right out, as long as you rip it. Alright, I have my soldering iron going. I'm going to go ahead and pull out these 2 bad capacitors. Alright, there's one, and like I said, once again, if you'll notice the top there, it is bowed out. That is a bad capacitor, and that is not allowing the machine to start up. I'll get the second one out here. It's just as easy. Really all I'm doing is just heating up the factory stuff and giving her a little pull from behind. Once she's warmed up nice, it slides right on through the hole. Alright, and once again, you'll notice that it's got that little bow there, and I'm not sure if the camera work will pick it all up because it looks like it's going kind of in a slow frame rate. But anyway, those 2 are definitely bad. I'm going to go ahead and get 2 good ones right back in those spots right off the bat and get this thing turned on. That way you can see how fast this process really is. Now I have on the back side the new replacement capacitors sitting in the holes where they belong. And basically what I do is I just warm up the spot where they're supposed to drop down into and let them push themselves right on through. Sometimes only having two hands becomes a bit of an issue, but we make do, right? Alright, that one is popped through, that one is popped through. Go ahead and make sure she's nice and stuck in spot. And then what I'm going to do is I take my real thin electrical solder and I make it look nice and new. Boom. And boom. There's one done, one to go. Alright, that one has popped through nice and easy. I go ahead and set it like that. Once again, use my solder. Make sure there's nothing dry. Make sure she's got a full contact with the bead. It's not touching any other traces. And it gives itself a nice little setup. Now, there is the back side of the board, which I've repaired. These two right here, and these two right here. Make sure that's focused in. Yep. Nothing to it. Alright, go back and let's install. First of all, to get this plug-in off where the main chip sits, I need to loosen that up just a tad bit to get the one plug in. Alright, at this point I'm just getting the 40 pin clip all set back in place. That way I can button up this cover Make sure she's lined up with the holes. Alright, that's all put together. Go ahead and grab the back case. This slides back on. 4 more screws for this one. Go ahead and flip her back over. Here's our front panel screen. Make sure that this connector here for the power button is in. And then we go ahead and just like when we pulled it up, we button it back together. We take our original stand that we popped out and we put it back in. Now, if everything has gone right, when I plug it in, instead of that blinking light we were met with last time, we'll be met with a screen that turns on and shows Dell, just like that. 20 minutes. That's all it took to take a monitor which a customer previously believed was no good and turn it good. Thanks for watching, guys. Anytime Electronics.